Imagine a life where you're not constantly worried about the future or stuck in the past. A life where you can enjoy each moment fully, where good things seem to happen naturally, and where you feel at peace with yourself and the world. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, today we're diving into a powerful idea that can truly change your life: the art of detachment and self-love. Now, this might sound a bit strange at first. You might be thinking, how can letting go and loving myself bring more good things into my life? But stick with me, because this simple idea is the key to letting in real magic and joy. Think about it for a moment. How often do you find yourself stressing over things you can't control, or beating yourself up over past mistakes? Maybe you're always chasing after the next big thing, never feeling satisfied with what you have right now. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many of us live this way, and it's exhausting. But there's another way to live, a way that brings more peace, happiness, and yes, even magic into our lives. This other way is all about learning to let go and to love ourselves deeply. It's about loosening our grip on the things we think we need to control and instead trusting in the flow of life. It's about treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we'd offer to a good friend. When we do this, something amazing starts to happen. We open ourselves up to all the good things life has to offer. But here's the thing. If we don't learn how to let go and love ourselves, we risk missing out on so much of life's magic. Think about a tightly closed fist. Nothing new can come into it, right? That's what we're doing when we hold on too tightly to our worries, our past, or our need for control. We're closing ourselves off from new opportunities, new joys, and new experiences. When we're always focused on what's wrong, what we lack, or what might go wrong in the future, we miss the beauty of the present moment. We might miss the smile of a stranger that could brighten our day, or the unexpected opportunity that could change our life. We might be so busy trying to make things perfect that we don't enjoy the good things we already have. And when we don't love ourselves, when we're constantly criticizing or doubting ourselves, we create a barrier between us and the world. We might hold back from trying new things or meeting new people because we don't feel worthy or capable. We might settle for less than we deserve in our relationships or our work because we don't believe we deserve better. But here's the exciting part. When we master the art of detachment and self-love, our lives can transform in ways we never imagined. It's like we're giving the universe permission to surprise and delight us. We start to experience more peace in our daily lives. The little things that used to bother us so much don't seem as important anymore. We find ourselves smiling more, laughing more easily, and feeling more relaxed. We also start to notice more opportunities coming our way. When we're not so focused on forcing things to happen, we become more open to unexpected possibilities. Maybe we meet just the right person at just the right time. Or perhaps a solution to a problem we've been struggling with suddenly becomes clear. It's not that magic things start happening to us. It's that we become more aware of the magic that was always there. Our relationships improve too. When we love ourselves, we naturally start to attract people who treat us well. We become more confident in setting healthy boundaries. We're less likely to stay in situations that don't serve us well. And because we're not constantly seeking approval from others, our connections become more genuine and fulfilling. Even our goals and dreams start to feel more achievable. Not because we're pushing harder, but because we're no longer getting in our own way. We trust ourselves more, we're willing to take smart risks, and we're more resilient when faced with setbacks. Now, I want to be honest with you. Learning to let go and love yourself isn't always easy. It's a journey, and like any journey, it has its challenges. There will be times when you'll want to fall back into old habits of worrying, controlling, or being hard on yourself. That's normal. The key is to be patient with yourself and to keep practicing. Think of it like learning to ride a bike. At first, it feels wobbly and uncertain. You might fall a few times, but with practice, it becomes more natural. Soon, you're riding without even thinking about it, enjoying the wind in your hair and the freedom of movement. That's what the journey to detachment and self-love is like. At first, it might feel strange to let go of your need to control everything. It might feel uncomfortable to be kind to yourself when you're used to being your own harshest critic. But with time and practice, it becomes your new normal. And that's when the real magic starts to happen. So let's dive a little deeper into what detachment really means. When some people hear the word detachment, they might think it means not caring about anything or anyone. But that's not it at all. Detachment is about caring deeply, but without clinging or trying to control. Imagine you're holding a beautiful butterfly in your hands. If you clutch it too tightly, you'll crush it. If you're too afraid to open your hands, it can't fly. But if you hold your hands open, the butterfly can rest there if it chooses, and it's free to fly away when it's ready. That's what detachment is like. In our lives, detachment means we care about our goals, our relationships, and our experiences, but we're not desperately clinging to them. We do our best, we put in the effort, but then we allow things to unfold as they will. We trust in the process of life. This doesn't mean we become passive or stop trying to improve our lives. Instead, it means we act from a place of peace rather than anxiety. We make plans, but we're okay with changing them if needed. We have hopes for the future, but we don't pin all our happiness on specific outcomes. Let's look at how this might play out in everyday life. Say you have a big presentation at work. Without detachment, you might stress about it constantly, imagining all the things that could go wrong. You might obsess over making it perfect, losing sleep, and making yourself miserable in the process. With detachment, you'd still prepare thoroughly. You'd do your best to create a good presentation, but you wouldn't tie your whole self-worth to the outcome. You'd do your best, and then let go, trusting that whatever happens, you'll be okay. This approach not only feels better, but it often leads to better results because you're coming from a place of confidence rather than fear. Or think about relationships. Without detachment, we might try to control our partner's behavior or get upset when they don't meet our expectations. We might cling to a relationship that's not working because we're afraid of being alone. With detachment, we can love deeply while still respecting the other person's freedom. We can express our needs clearly, but without demanding or manipulating. And if a relationship ends, while it might still hurt, we can accept it and trust that we'll be okay. When we practice detachment, we start to feel a new sense of freedom. We're no longer at the mercy of external circumstances for our happiness. We can enjoy good times fully because we're not anxiously trying to make them last forever. And we can move through challenging times with more grace because we're not resisting what is. This doesn't mean we become emotionless robots. In fact, many people find they feel their emotions more deeply when they practice detachment. But these emotions flow through us rather than getting stuck. We can feel sad without being consumed by sadness. We can feel angry without letting that anger control our actions. Detachment also helps us to see things more clearly. When we're not caught up in how we think things should be, we can see them as they are. This clarity can help us make better decisions and respond to life's challenges more effectively. Now, let's talk about the other half of our magical formula, self-love. Self-love is about treating yourself with kindness, respect, and care. It's about accepting yourself fully, flaws and all, while still being open to growth and change. Many people misunderstand self-love. They think it's about being selfish or arrogant. But real self-love is nothing like that. When we truly love ourselves, we naturally become more loving towards others. It's like the safety instructions on an airplane. You need to put on your own oxygen mask before you can help others with theirs. Self-love means taking care of your physical and mental health. It means setting healthy boundaries in your relationships. It means pursuing your dreams and standing up for your values. But it also means being gentle with yourself when you make mistakes, because you know that making mistakes is part of being human. When we start to love ourselves, amazing things begin to happen. We become more confident, not in an arrogant way, but in a quiet, assured way. We start to trust our own judgment more. We become less dependent on others for our happiness and self-worth. Our relationships improve because we're no longer looking to others to fill a void within us. We can give love more freely because we're not constantly seeking to get love. We can also receive love more easily because we feel worthy of it. We become more resilient in the face of life's challenges. When we love ourselves, setbacks don't shake our core sense of worth. We can see them as opportunities for growth rather than proof of our inadequacy. Self-love also helps us make better choices for ourselves. When we value ourselves, we're less likely to stay in situations that aren't good for us, whether that's a job, a relationship, or a habit. We naturally start to gravitate towards people and experiences that align with our true selves. So how do we cultivate this powerful self-love? It starts with being aware of our self-talk. Many of us have an inner critic that's constantly pointing out our flaws and mistakes. Loving yourself doesn't mean this voice will disappear completely, but we can learn to balance it with a kinder, more supportive inner voice. Try to catch yourself when you're being self-critical. Would you talk to a good friend that way? If not, try to rephrase your thoughts in a more loving, supportive way. Instead of, "I'm so stupid for making that mistake," try, "I'm human, and humans make mistakes. What can I learn from this?" Self-love also involves taking care of your basic needs. This means getting enough sleep, eating nourishing food, moving your body in ways that feel good, and making time for rest and fun. It means saying no to things that drain you and yes to things that energize you. Another powerful practice is to regularly acknowledge your own good qualities and achievements. Many of us are quick to notice our flaws, but slow to recognize our strengths. Try to balance this by regularly reminding yourself of your positive qualities and the things you've accomplished, big and small. Now, here's where the magic really happens: when detachment and self-love come together. These two practices support and enhance each other in beautiful ways. When we love ourselves, it becomes easier to detach. We're not constantly seeking validation from others or from external achievements. We can let go more easily because our sense of worth doesn't depend on controlling outcomes. And when we practice detachment, it creates space for more self-love. We're not beating ourselves up over every little thing that doesn't go our way. We can appreciate ourselves and our efforts, regardless of the results. Together, detachment and self-love create a powerful foundation for a life of peace, joy, and yes, magic. We become more open to life's possibilities. We're more present in each moment, able to fully enjoy the good times and move through the challenging times with grace. We become more authentic in our relationships and our pursuits. We're not trying to be someone we're not or achieve things just to impress others. Instead, we're free to be our true selves and to follow our genuine passions. And perhaps most importantly, we become more open to receiving all the good that life has to offer. When we're not clutching tightly to our ideas of how things should be. And when we feel worthy of good things, we naturally attract more positivity into our lives. This doesn't mean that life becomes perfect or that challenges disappear. But it does mean that we can navigate life's ups and downs with more ease, more joy, and more grace. We can let life be, trusting in its flow, while still actively participating in creating our best lives. Now, if all of this sounds a bit overwhelming, don't worry. The journey to detachment and self-love isn't about making huge, dramatic changes overnight. It's about small, consistent steps in the right direction. Maybe you start by taking a few deep breaths and consciously letting go when you find yourself getting stressed about something you can't control. Maybe you begin each day by looking in the mirror and saying one kind thing to yourself. These small actions, repeated over time, can lead to profound changes. Remember, this is a practice. Some days will be easier than others. There will be times when you fall back into old patterns of clinging or self-criticism. That's okay. The key is to notice when this happens and gently guide yourself back to detachment and self-love. As you continue on this path, you'll likely start to notice small changes. Maybe you feel a little calmer in situations that used to stress you out. Maybe you find yourself bouncing back more quickly from disappointments. Maybe you start to notice more moments of unexpected joy in your daily life. These small changes can build on each other, creating a positive cycle. As you become more detached and loving towards yourself, you'll likely find it easier to continue these practices. And as you continue these practices, you'll experience more of their benefits. The world needs more people who are at peace with themselves and open to life's flow. As you embrace detachment and self-love, you're not just improving your own life. You're contributing to a more loving, peaceful world. So be patient with yourself, celebrate your progress, and stay open to the magic that can unfold when you learn to let go and let love in. When we bring detachment and self-love together, something truly magical happens. It's like two puzzle pieces that fit perfectly, creating a beautiful picture of inner peace and joy. Let's explore how these two powerful concepts work together to transform our lives. Imagine you're standing on a beach, watching the waves come in and out. Detachment is like letting those waves wash over your feet without trying to hold onto the water. You enjoy the sensation, but you don't try to stop the waves or make them come faster. Self-love in this scenario is appreciating your ability to stand there and enjoy the experience, regardless of how the waves behave. When we combine detachment and self-love, we create a strong foundation for happiness that doesn't depend on external circumstances. We can love ourselves deeply while also being okay with things not always going our way. This combination helps us navigate life's ups and downs with more grace and resilience. For example, let's say you're working on a big project at work. With detachment, you do your best without obsessing over the outcome. You put in the effort, but you're not attached to getting specific praise or recognition. With self-love, you appreciate your own hard work and creativity, regardless of how others react. Together, these attitudes allow you to enjoy the process of working on the project, feel good about your efforts, and remain calm about the results. Or think about relationships. Detachment allows you to love someone deeply without trying to control them or make them responsible for your happiness. Self-love ensures that you maintain healthy boundaries and don't accept poor treatment. Together, they create the foundation for healthy, balanced relationships where both people can grow and thrive. As we practice both detachment and self-love, we may notice that life starts to feel more like a fun adventure than a stressful struggle. We become more open to new experiences because we're not so afraid of failure or rejection. We can take risks and try new things, knowing that our self-worth doesn't depend on the outcome. This combination also helps us be more present in each moment. When we're not constantly worrying about the future or regretting the past, we can fully engage with what's happening right now. And when we love ourselves, we can fully enjoy those moments without feeling like we don't deserve them or that they need to last forever. While the benefits of detachment and self-love are amazing, it's important to recognize that there can be challenges along the way. Understanding these obstacles can help us navigate them more easily. One common obstacle is our ingrained habits. Many of us have spent years, maybe even decades, holding on to things tightly and being critical of ourselves. These patterns don't change overnight. It's normal to find ourselves slipping back into old ways of thinking and behaving. The key is to be patient with ourselves and gently redirect our thoughts and actions when we notice this happening. Another obstacle can be our environment. We might be surrounded by people who don't understand or support our journey towards detachment and self-love. They might mistake detachment for not caring or see self-love as selfish. It's important to remember that we don't need everyone to understand our path. We can love and respect others while still staying true to our own journey. Fear can also be a significant obstacle. Letting go can feel scary. We might worry that if we detach, we'll lose things that are important to us. Or we might fear that loving ourselves fully will somehow make us less driven or successful. It's helpful to remind ourselves that true detachment and self-love don't mean we stop caring or trying. They just mean we approach life from a place of peace and self-acceptance rather than fear and self-criticism. Sometimes past experiences can make it hard to practice detachment and self-love. If we've been hurt in the past, it might feel safer to try to control everything or to be hard on ourselves as a form of self-protection. Healing from past wounds is often an important part of the journey towards detachment and self-love. Our own expectations can sometimes get in the way too. We might think that once we start practicing detachment and self-love, everything should be perfect all the time. But life will still have its challenges. The difference is in how we approach those challenges. It's not about never feeling negative emotions, but about being able to move through them more easily. Another obstacle can be impatience. We live in a world that often values quick fixes and instant results. But developing detachment and self-love is a lifelong journey. It's important to celebrate small progress and trust in the process, even when we don't see dramatic changes right away. Despite these obstacles, remember that every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. Each time we choose to let go of something we can't control, each moment we choose to be kind to ourselves, we're growing and evolving. Now that we understand what detachment is and why it's important, let's explore some practical ways to cultivate it in our daily lives. Remember, detachment is a skill that we develop over time. So be patient with yourself as you practice these steps. One powerful way to practice detachment is through mindfulness meditation. This involves sitting quietly and observing your thoughts and feelings without judging them or trying to change them. Start with just a few minutes each day. As thoughts come up, especially worries about things you can't control, practice letting them float by like clouds in the sky. This helps train your mind to observe without clinging. Another helpful practice is to regularly remind yourself of what you can and can't control. When you find yourself worrying or stressing about something, pause and ask yourself, is this something I have direct control over? If not, practice taking a deep breath and letting it go. You might even visualize yourself releasing it, like letting go of a balloon and watching it float away. Developing a broader perspective can also aid in detachment. When something is bothering you, try zooming out and asking yourself, will this matter in a year? In 5 years? Often, we get caught up in small details that won't be important in the long run. Reminding ourselves of the bigger picture can help us let go of minor irritations. Practicing gratitude is another powerful tool for detachment. When we focus on what we're grateful for, it becomes easier to let go of what we think we lack or what we wish was different. Try starting or ending each day by noting 3 things you're grateful for. This shifts your focus from what you don't have to what you do have. Physical practices can also help with detachment. Activities like yoga or Tai Chi combine movement with mindfulness, helping us learn to be present in our bodies and let go of mental chatter. Even simple stretching or going for a walk can help us detach from stressful thoughts and come back to the present moment. Learning to delay reaction can be a valuable detachment skill. When something happens that upsets you, practice pausing before you respond. Take a few deep breaths. This pause can give you space to detach from your immediate emotional reaction and choose a more balanced response. Another practical step is to regularly declutter your physical space. The process of deciding what to keep and what to let go of can be a powerful metaphor for mental and emotional detachment. As you practice letting go of physical items you no longer need, you may find it becomes easier to let go in other areas of your life as well. Journaling can be a helpful tool for developing detachment. Write down your thoughts and feelings, especially about things you're having trouble letting go of. The act of putting them on paper can help create some distance between you and those thoughts or feelings. Finally, remember that detachment is not about suppressing your feelings or becoming cold and uncaring. It's about feeling your emotions fully while not letting them control you. Practice allowing yourself to experience your feelings without judgment, and then letting them go when they've run their course. As you incorporate these practices into your life, you may find that detachment becomes more natural over time. You might notice that you're less easily upset by small annoyances, or that you're able to adapt more easily when things don't go as planned. These are all signs that you're developing the valuable skill of detachment. Now that we've explored detachment, let's dive into practical ways to nurture self-love. Remember, self-love isn't about being perfect or never having negative thoughts about yourself. It's about treating yourself with kindness and respect, even when you're struggling. One powerful practice for cultivating self-love is positive self-talk. Pay attention to your inner dialogue. When you notice negative self-talk, gently challenge it. Ask yourself, would I talk to a friend this way? If not, try to rephrase your thoughts in a kinder, more supportive way. For example, instead of "I'm so stupid for making that mistake," try "everyone makes mistakes sometimes. What can I learn from this?" Taking care of your physical health is another important aspect of self-love. This doesn't mean you have to become a fitness guru or follow a strict diet. It's about making choices that make you feel good and energized. Get enough sleep, eat foods that nourish your body, and move in ways that feel enjoyable to you. Remember, you're taking care of yourself because you deserve it, not because you're trying to meet some external standard. Practice self-compassion. When you're going through a hard time, treat yourself as you would a good friend. Acknowledge that what you're experiencing is difficult. Remind yourself that struggle is a normal part of the human experience. Offer yourself words of comfort and support. Set healthy boundaries. Learning to say no to things that drain you and yes to things that energize you is a powerful form of self-love. It might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to always putting others first. But remember, taking care of yourself allows you to show up more fully for others. Celebrate your achievements, big and small. Many of us are quick to criticize ourselves, but slow to acknowledge our successes. Make a habit of recognizing your accomplishments. It could be something as simple as making your bed in the morning or as significant as completing a major project at work. Take a moment to appreciate your effort and progress. Practice forgiveness towards yourself. We all make mistakes and have regrets. Holding on to these can prevent us from fully loving ourselves. Work on forgiving yourself for past actions. Remember that you did the best you could with what you knew at the time, and that making mistakes is part of being human and growing. Engage in activities that bring you joy. Make time for hobbies, creative pursuits, or simply moments of relaxation that you enjoy. Prioritizing your own happiness is a form of self-love. Surround yourself with positive influences. Spend time with people who uplift and support you. Limit exposure to media or individuals that make you feel bad about yourself. Your environment can have a big impact on your ability to love yourself. Practice self-acceptance. This doesn't mean you never want to change or improve, but it means loving yourself as you are right now, while also being open to growth. Recognize that you are worthy of love and respect, just as you are, imperfections and all. Use positive affirmations. While it might feel awkward at first, regularly repeating positive statements about yourself can help rewire negative thought patterns. Try looking in the mirror each morning and saying something kind to yourself. As you practice detachment and self-love, you may start to notice some wonderful changes in your life. It's like opening a door and letting fresh air and sunlight into a room that's been closed for too long. Let's explore some of the magic that can happen when we embrace these principles. One of the first things you might notice is a sense of inner calm. The constant chatter of worry and self-criticism starts to quiet down. You may find yourself feeling more peaceful, even in situations that used to stress you out. This doesn't mean you'll never feel stressed or anxious, but you'll likely find that these feelings don't overwhelm you as much as they used to. Your relationships might start to improve when you're not desperately clinging to outcomes or seeking validation from others. Your interactions become more genuine and relaxed. You might find it easier to connect with people on a deeper level. And because you love yourself, you're less likely to tolerate relationships that don't serve you well. You may notice more synchronicities or lucky coincidences in your life. This isn't because the universe has suddenly started favoring you. It's more likely that you've become more open and aware of the opportunities around you. When we're not fixated on how things should be, we become more able to see and appreciate what actually is. Your creativity might flourish. When we're not so afraid of failure or judgment, we become more willing to try new things and express ourselves freely. You might rediscover old passions or develop new ones. Decision-making often becomes easier. When you're not attached to specific outcomes and you trust in your own worth, you can make choices based on what truly aligns with your values and desires, rather than fear or the need for approval. You might find yourself more resilient in the face of challenges. When your sense of self-worth isn't tied to external circumstances, setbacks don't shake you as much. You're able to see difficulties as opportunities for growth rather than personal failures. Your intuition may become stronger. As you learn to quiet the noise of anxiety and self-doubt, you can more easily hear your inner wisdom. You might find yourself making choices that feel deeply right, even if you can't always explain why. You may experience more moments of joy and contentment in your daily life. When we're not always chasing after the next thing or dwelling on what's wrong, we can more fully appreciate the good things that are already present in our lives. Your health might improve. Stress has a significant impact on our physical well-being. As you learn to let go and love yourself, you may notice improvements in your sleep, digestion, and overall sense of vitality. You might find yourself naturally attracting more positive experiences and people into your life. This isn't about magical thinking, but rather about the fact that when we're in a more positive state, we're more likely to notice and engage with positive aspects of our environment. Remember, these changes often happen gradually. You might not wake up one day and suddenly find your life completely transformed. Instead, you'll likely notice small shifts over time. Each of these small changes builds on the others, creating a positive cycle of growth and well-being. As we come to the end of our exploration of detachment and self-love, let's take a moment to reflect on the journey we've discussed. We've delved into the power of letting go, the importance of loving ourselves, and the magic that can unfold when we embrace these principles. Remember, the path to detachment and self-love is not always easy. There will be challenges along the way. You might have days where you fall back into old patterns of clinging or self-criticism. That's okay. It's all part of the journey. The key is to be patient with yourself and to keep coming back to these practices, even when it's difficult. Every time you choose to let go of something you can't control, every moment you choose to be kind to yourself, you're taking a step forward. These small steps, over time, can lead to profound changes in your life. You might find yourself feeling more peaceful, more authentic, and more open to life's possibilities. As you continue on this path, remember that you're not just improving your own life. By cultivating detachment and self-love, you're contributing to a more peaceful, loving world. Your inner work ripples out, affecting everyone you interact with. So, I encourage you to start small. Maybe begin with a few minutes of mindfulness practice each day. Or start your morning by saying something kind to yourself in the mirror. Choose one area of your life where you can practice letting go a little more. Be curious about what happens as you make these small changes. And most importantly, be gentle with yourself. This is a lifelong journey, not a destination to reach. Celebrate your progress, learn from your setbacks, and always remember that you are worthy of love and peace, just as you are. As you go forward from here, carry with you the knowledge that within you lies the power to transform your life. By letting go and letting love in, you open yourself to a world of possibilities. You have the ability to create a life filled with more peace, joy, and authentic connection. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of detachment and self-love. May your journey be filled with growth, discovery, and moments of true magic. Remember, the key to unlocking life's wonders is already within you. It's time to let go, to love yourself fully, and to let life be the beautiful adventure it's meant to be.